Combine in the books. Let's talk football. And the Texans, Luis Ortiz, Zach Tawatari here with me. Also tonight from SNL Texans Talk, Cody Stoots from HOUfootball.com, Landry Locker of the Locker Room. These two are so important, they have their own desk and their own logo behind them. Look at that, guys.
Isn't this great? You guys really set us up. This is actually a real brick wall, and we actually spray painted it ourselves when we got in here.
Yes. The invoice will be in the mail. You two attended the Combine in Indy, so give us one prospect's name Texans fans should start learning now.
I'm going to say Kayden McDonald out of Ohio State. He's a defensive tackle. I think defensive tackle is actually a really big need. You might not think that if you look at next year, but they don't have a single guy in that position under contract. He's also someone who's realistic. There's a lot of intriguing guys, but Kayden McDonald out of Ohio State, if you watch Texas Longhorn football, he completely dominated that game in week 1. He also was coached by Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia and Nick Caserio worked together in New England for 20 years. So he's going to get all the information possible. He's mean, he's nasty. You put him next to Tommy Togiai on that D-line with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson by his side, the best defense in the league could get even better.
Ooh, I love that. I'm going to go with kind of a trench player, but he's going to help you in the trenches, and he's going to help you in the receiving game. That's Stanford tight end Sam Roush. Now, Roush is a big human being, 6'5", 255, a freak athlete with the testing at the Combine. And oh, by the way, maybe the best blocker at the tight end spot in this draft. You have to have a discernible day one skill if you're not going to be a first or maybe second round pick, and Roush can go out there, block right away. How many times have we seen a tight end not be able to block enough for the Texans? Looking at you, Dalton Schultz. Looking at you, Kate Stover. Okay, Roush can go out there. He can do some of that dirty work. And oh, yeah, by the way, he can go help you a little bit in the receiving game, too. He's not a negative. In fact, there might be some untapped potential to Roush at the tight end spot.
Guys, how about the prospect you think helped himself the most at the Combine?
I'm going to go with Eli Stowers out of Vanderbilt, the tight end, former Texas A&M quarterback. Now, we know who tight end 1 is. It's Kenyon Sadiq. Spoiler alert, he's not going to be there at 28, so that's not going to happen. So the question becomes, who is tight end 2? Some say Stowers, maybe not the best blocker. They need tight ends that can receive and block. NBA type vertical, close to 50 inches, 45 I think was the final number. Really good 40 time. Diego Pavia, I think he kind of rode his coattail a little bit at Vanderbilt. You look at the Texans, one of their biggest problems is red zone. Red zone, they don't have very many red zone threats outside of Dalton Schultz at the tight end position. A guy that can run, a guy that can jump. Oh, by the way, we saw Cade Stover with the QB sneak. I think you can probably throw him in there. They need as many weapons as possible, and I think Eli Stowers might be tight end too. Only question is, 28, 38, like, is he going to be there if you pass on him at 28? I think he might have played his way into the back end of the first round, Stoots.
That's a good one, and he was one of the guys that surprised with the athleticism and took himself kind of the top of it. I'm going with a guy that just kind of proved that he's not a bad athlete. It's my guy, Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech. There was a lot of people that thought that he was not going to be able to go out there and run real fast and show that he was an athlete. No, he went out there, he ran fast enough, the broad jump was good enough, but then the agility stuff, one of the best shuttles, one of the best 3 cones at the linebacker spot. He did enough to prove that, yes, the tape looks excellent and he's not a bad athlete. That's a guy that late in day 2, and certainly if he's there at the top of day 3, the Texans got to be thinking about it, and he might be too good to even be there for the Texans.
And I want to ask you guys, Cody, who's a possible Texans target who impressed you most during his Q&A with the media?
I loved Blake Miller, the right tackle from Clemson. He talked for a long time, and a lot of his stuff was about just how he's a cerebral guy. I loved when he talked about being ready and prepared between the ears before he even got on the field. He likes to use defensive linemen's favorite moves against them, and he's already got dossiers on defensive ends in the NFL that he's already scouting and working on. This guy impressed me a ton. I got to imagine when he gets with the Texans, he's going to impress them a ton too.
I got to go with Mike Washington out of Arkansas. Crazy thing is, this is a really, really weak running back class. I think the Texans will 100% be active in free agency. They will get one of those guys, and they still might draft one. Mike Washington did very well for himself. Sounded really, really good at the podium, and he obviously ran. Crazy fact, with this week running back class, only 10 of 21 guys actually even ran the 40.
Texans GM Nick Caserio spoke with reporters on Tuesday. What was the most interesting thing that Nick Caserio said? You guys were there, so let's start with you.
I mean, to me, it was what he didn't say, but kind of just the gray area that he left. Look, we knew he was going to back C.J. Stroud when he was asked about trades and getting rid of Stroud and not having Stroud in 2026. We knew he was going to back him. He backed his guy. It was, moronic to think about trading C.J. Stroud. But then he left kind of the gray area beyond 2026. He said, he's our quarterback in 2026, and we'll just let you speculate on the rest of it. Well, I'm speculating that if 2026 doesn't go well for C.J. Stroud, he's on a different team, and Nick Caserio's maybe looking for a new quarterback. So as much as what he didn't say is what he said for me.
I think Nick Caserio, one of the weirder quotes, sometimes we're in the scrum, we ask him questions, then you walk away, you revisit, and you're like, man, what is he talking about? As college football turns to pro football with NIL, it seems like Nick Caserio has turned more into a college GM. He said the Texans were a top 3 program. I don't know what that means. You haven't been in the top 4 in the last 3 years, so I had no idea what that meant. It feels like he also flexed that the offensive line had one of the best seasons in franchise history. That's not really much to brag about, my friend. So that is the weirdest thing that Nick Caserio has done, is between saying this is the best 3-year stretch in franchise history. Well, they've never been to the AFC Championship game, sir. You have 6 Super Bowl rings. It feels like Nick Caserio is now talking like a mid-major college team back in the BCS era, saying that we're a top 3 program when you've never been in the top 4. I was astonished by it. There was a lot of other good stuff, but for me personally, I think it's weird to say you're a top 3 program when you've never been in the Final Four.
I mean, the word program, Nick has used that since he's gotten here.
All the time.
And that's something that we always heard from the New England people. I go along with what you're saying about the O-line, that Nick says, honestly, our O-line actually played pretty good last year, so maybe I was looking at a different film. And that was in relation to, will they draft O-line or best player available? I get the sense that Nick believes that this offensive line was good enough for the Texans to make some noise, and if they had gotten anything out of the quarterback position in those 2 playoff games, this might be an entirely different story.
Yeah, he may have been looking at different film, but it seems like you and I were looking at the same film, because that's what stood out to me.
They were better. Listen, in terms of quarterback sacks, they allowed 20 fewer.
But they couldn't run the ball. They ranked 29th in yards per carry in the NFL. I mean, how can you say that your offensive line is that much better if you're still not able to run the ball? I get it. C.J. Stroud was sacked a lot less, but still, to say they've had one of the best years, that's just crazy to me.
Yeah, that's the thing that stuck out the most to me as well. Probably not interesting in a good way, but more so in a way that makes you think, because more so about, he keeps saying that they're going to go more for the best player available rather than going in tackle positions that you need. He's not focused on, okay, this is where we need to improve, this is what we need to reinforce as far as the team goes, the roster goes. It's more so about, okay, best player available. Well, if there's a really good wide receiver available, do you go for the wide receiver when you already have a packed wide receiver room, right? Rather than focusing, okay, we really need help, on the offensive line in order to be able to improve that running game that you talk about.
I'm okay with best player available. What about you guys?
Yeah, here's the dirty little secret about best player available. When you build that board, you build it according to things that you need. So best player available is kind of a phony way to say we stack it the way we need those guys. And you can just avoid saying that we took a need position. Oh, he's just the best player available. Oh, you just so happen to need a wide receiver when you drafted J.D. Higgins. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think best player available is something they'll do. I think there's a lot of opportunity, not just short term, but also long term. Guys who aren't positions where you don't have a lot of guys under contract. Even linebacker, you don't have anyone under contract outside Jamal Hill after the upcoming season. So there's a lot of opportunity. They've actually done a really good job at that for like all the stuff that you might say about Nick Caserio and some of the stuff. They've actually done a really good job, I think, of doing that. Crazy thing is, they haven't made a first-round pick since Will Anderson in the D'Amico Caserio era. I don't know that I would bet that they will this year either. We could see some more movement.
Very interesting. We have much more with Landry and Cody, as well as our team here, as Sports Extra rolls on. And looking ahead now, the NFL's new league year begins on March 11th. Here with Luis and Zach. Cody and Landry are also back on the screen here. First order of business for the Texans when the league's new year begins is what for you guys?
Got to get a running back. It's a tough draft to get someone to put near the top of the depth chart. You got to get one at this point, whether it's Kenneth Walker, whether it's Rico Dowdle. I know Aaron Jones might be available now. There's a few names to throw out there. Tyler Algier. You got to get a running back. I still think you should draft one as well, but they've got to take advantage of that running back position, and then they can adjust accordingly. But they've got to take care of that, and they've got to act relatively quick because it's not just about the offensive line. You need better running backs in order to run the ball, and they're going to have to attack that in free agency.
Would love to see him get Kenneth Walker. That'd be the top target for me. For me, go get a long-term, still good at football, veteran on the offensive line. Find him either at guard or tackle, but the short-term investment, the hopeful that this guy's still got something left in the tank, no more of that. Shop at the top, go get a proven commodity on the offensive line and help out whatever running backs are running behind him, help out C.J. Stroud. And think about this. Yes, there's a lot of talented offensive linemen in the draft, but do you want another young guy? It's only the second year for Jake Andrews playing. It'll be the second year for Ariante Ursary playing. We know Titus Howard's going to have one of those spots. Go find a steady veteran. Yeah, they're going to be expensive. Offensive linemen are expensive in free agency, but get a guy that's still got some juice left to his game to help out in the ground game and blocking.
All right, so there are two ideas there. When the league opens the new year, what do you guys want to see happen?
Have to get a running back. Could not agree more with Landry and Cody. They have to be able to establish some kind of ground game in order to help the passing game. Say what you will about everything that happened last year with C.J. Stroud in the playoffs. The fact of the matter is they could not run the ball. They have to be able to do that this year.
I agree. You got to go get a running back. That's the number one priority. I'm not so much of a fan of Kenneth Walker. I think we're just kind of in love with him because of winning the MVP during the Super Bowl. For me, I'm more of a guy, Travis Etienne with the Jacksonville Jaguars, or how about maybe Rico Dowdle. I don't think Breece Hall is available as a free agent. I'm not sure I think it's got to be a trade, but even a Breece Hall would be a great pickup for the Texans.
All right, speaking of running back, I'm curious what Cody and Landry think about this. Would you like to see some resolution when it comes to the Joe Mixon saga?
I think it was resolved whether Caserio realized he did it or not, but he listed the running backs that are under contract, and he said they had 3. They actually have 4. His name's Joe Mixon. You've been kind of dodging that for a while. It was kind of funny because he's had his guard up. They've been weird. They've been bizarre about it. And then he says, well, I said, well, what about the running back position? Well, we have 3 guys under contract right now. We got British Brooks. We got Jawar Jordan, and we got Woody Marks. Well, Joe Mixon is too, brother. So I think it's done. I think it's done. That right there, that's all I needed on top of common sense. But yeah, I think the Mixon thing is done. One of the weirdest things that I've ever been a part of, but Nick kind of slipped there.
Yeah, there's a little gotcha moment there. You messed up, Caserio. We caught you.
It is certainly one of the more bizarre situations that nothing has ever come out truly about what happened with Joe Mixon. Cody Stoots from HOUfootball.com. Landry Locker of The Locker Room. Together they are SNL Texans Talk on YouTube. Guys, thanks for being with us tonight on Sports Extra.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the cool logo.
Yeah, without a doubt.